What follows is a Probity Co. question and answer session. Probity Co. is the process by which you can withhold your taxes as a protest about how the UK government is funding and supporting war. These calls happen every 2 weeks on a Monday from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. If you want to know more, go to probityco.com, sign up, and you will get a link to those calls when they happen every 2 weeks.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Hi. Okay, so things are moving on a bit here. So I sent originally the trust deed to the council based on Chris's template. And I probably sent that round about May, end of May time, maybe. And I got the usual reply, this is not going to stop you paying council tax. You still need to pay council tax, blah, blah, blah. So then I got the liability order and a court hearing, which a Super Western Supermare, which I didn't go to. I thought I'm not wasting my time going there. And so what I did is I challenged them on the fraudulent nature of the court case. So I actually used Robert Odek's AI system and got it to write me a letter in the style. Does everybody still hear me?
Yep.
All right. The letter in the style of a barrister, and which it did. And so it challenged them on denial of a right for a fair hearing, lack of proper court record. I actually phoned the court, and they said, no, there's no record. I looked at trustonline.org, and there was no record of any court hearing. I challenged them on jurisdictional issues. I included relevant case law and made a formal request for a revocation of the liability order, suspension of enforcement actions, disclosure of evidence and records, and review of procedural compliance. Sorry? And then notes of further action. So I asked them to address these issues within 14 days, to ask the liability order be set aside, potentially seeking a judicial review. So I sent that in on the 2nd of September. I also sent another letter because they sent two liability orders, one to me and one to my wife for the same council tax in the same house. So I challenged that, sent a second letter asking for that to be revoked. And they said, we'll get back to you by the 30th of September, which is today. So I've literally 10 minutes ago received an email from the council trying to say, here's a court record. Here's a record of the court. It's not on court paper. It's clearly been produced by the council. And just the usual blah, 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 blah. This does not stop you from being liable for council tax. So that's kind of where I am. So I'm going to think about what the next step is, whether to actually take them to court.
Yeah, I think we've got to start pushing back, David, pushing back hard, and that's a good idea. We'll talk about it later on tonight, but it is important that we start to be much more forceful about our responses.
Right, yeah.
Well, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I've been doing lots of reading up about it, so I'm fairly confident about it. I think we do need to push back on them to such an extent that they start to feel the fear.
Yes,
that they could be held responsible.
Yeah, definitely. No, brilliant. All right, we'll get back to that. Should we go to another question? So, Crypto Rich.
Hi, Susie. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I just have a request because I came in a few minutes late. I didn't. If people could say just like David did, just the beginning of what it is they're dealing with, because I know some people may have been in the middle of a process. It just helps others who are coming late to this conversation to say, that's what it is. So David made it really clear he's dealing with council tax. I missed the beginning of Jennifer. I apologize, but this is for future. And also, if there's anybody here who's willing to come on my channel for an interview about this process, then please send me a DM and we can arrange to contact each other over Telegram or via Twitter and or even by email. I just wanted to say that, and I'll be sharing what I'm doing as well. And when I say anybody, I do include David, who just spoke.
How's it going?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Susie. Right, so for those of you that don't know, I'm not paying anything.
Good.
Okay, but you weren't here last time, Chris. So we had a little bit of a thing going on with. I was mentioning about my employees that they weren't really clear on what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, as you know, I've got 2 salons. So one salon now is fully aware of what I'm doing, and they're fine with it. The other salon, I have my reservations about it because they're a bit older and they're all mums and they've all got kids and they're all part-time. So they may have some idea of what I'm doing, but I don't think they know the full extent. So I still have to tell them
Right.
what I'm doing. You know, I'm withholding the money, but if they don't agree,
Yeah, that's a good point. But remember that in law, it's you who are responsible for deducting the PAYE and national insurance. And the way the revenue and customs operate is that the individual has no say at all, which is the problem we've all got when we're on PAYE and national insurance. So, but I fully agree with keeping everybody in touch with what's happening and why. Most people have no understanding of the fact that it is a criminal offence for you as the boss to hand the money over, and that you're doing this, not only just for them as well, but also to make sure you are not committing a criminal offence.
yeah,
They need to understand that. And also, I think it's important that presumably you're doing the NIC as well.
the national
Insurance contributions.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the important thing for them is that they are not going to suffer long term for this. If when you get the money back to them, they put that into private pension arrangements, and they don't have to rely on the government or the taxpayers when they retire funding their pensions.
Yeah, I think the pension. I've got a private pension, Chris, with my company. That's still being paid. It's just the.
Does that go to the individuals as well as you?
Yeah. So that's still being paid, but I'm not paying their taxes on their behalf. I'm withholding that.
Okay, because your accountant did say that you could provide them with the tax code, so then it's up to them. But you've withheld it.
Yeah. So I've told my main salon, and their main concern was, can they come after us as individuals? And I said, no, they'll come after me because I'm the one withholding it. And I said, if by the end of the tax year you really want to pay your tax, I'll give you a sort code, account number, my reference number that it's paid into, and you can pay it into.
Yeah,
so I've told them that.
Yeah.
Sean
might be. Are you there, Sean? There's a few business people.
Yeah, Sean. I should be. Yeah.
Are you doing it, Sean?
Yeah. I haven't done anything though. I haven't put this whole thing into motion yet. But my first thing that I'm trying to withhold is corporation tax. So I haven't got to the PAYE bit yet.
Oh, okay.
I do that in my self-assessment. I'm
doing that as well.
Yeah.
Now, the other question I have is, I collected my tax-free allowance, my pension, and I rang the pension company asking them if I could collect the whole amount that's been invested without paying any tax, and they said that that wouldn't be possible. It will be taxed at source. So HMRC would take out the amount at source using my tax code. Is there a way around this, Chris?
Well, I mean, we have to find it. I mean, this is again revenue and customs breaking the law. We've got to be tougher about them. And I think the way I'm thinking now is to re-initiate the statements of law. Sorry, not initiate. I mean, I'm going to resend them the statement of the Terrorism Act, Section 15, and the International Criminal Court Act, Section 52, and get them to read it and then to answer my question: is tax excluded from these offences? And if they can prove that tax is excluded from these offences, then fine.
But how do I stop the pension deducting? How do I stop the pension?
Well, again, I mean, we have to sort of point out that they are
complicit.
That money the deduction is going straight into the consolidated fund. 15% of it goes straight to the MOD, and they spend that on mass murder and genocide. And if not now, preparing for mass murder and genocide in the future.
I did say to them today when I spoke to them, is there any way? They said there's no way because they just get the tax code from HMRC and then they just pay it and they deduct the tax straight away.
Yeah. I mean, this is the problem. They put up these systems to ensure they can keep funding war, and we have to stop that. So somehow, again, let's push back on it.
So
I
is
will
there
get a
nothing I
letter
can
out
say to my
to this
pension
effect
company?
in the next week or two.
Is there nothing I can challenge my pension company with?
I'm sure. Yes, I'm trying to challenge mine, the Wesleyan,
Okay.
on their payments, and I will do that again. I have half written a letter to them, but I haven't finished it. But I will send it. But that's the sort of thing that we need to do.
Yeah.
They need to know perfectly well that every penny of tax that goes into the government contributes some of the money to mass murder and genocide, and they are committing criminal offences. That's the directors of the pension company and the managers within it who are forcing you to do these things.
Mm.
It might be worth finding out, Marco, as well, if they do invest in any things like illegal settlements or BAE systems or anything like that.
Say that again, Susie?
Your pension company, does it invest in other things? It
Yeah.
won't invest
I
your
think
pension.
so. Yeah, I think so.
They invest in, Caterpillar or BAE systems or any companies in the illegal settlements in Palestine.
Okay, that's a good. But ask them that question. Yeah.
Well, if you look up the fund itself, yeah, they might be able to tell you online what they invest in, and then you can see if any of those companies are ones that are in breaches of international law. That's listed on the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign site, but I've put a link on that under Take Action on Probity.
Okay. And just one last question regarding council tax. I don't know if anyone's missing a trick here, but councils are corporations, and corporations, if they generate more than £85,000 worth of revenue, they're supposed to be VAT registered, are they not?
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be an additional sort of weapon to go against them to simply ask them to produce a valid VAT invoice?
Well, someone has done that, haven't they? That woman wrote in and asked for that. I don't know whether it was on Richard Vobes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I don't know what's happened, but she just keeps coming back.
It was on Richard Vobes' channel. He read out a series of emails from someone in Portsmouth to Portsmouth Council who said, look, I want to pay, just send me a proper invoice which is compliant with the Bill of Exchange Act and VAT regulations. And they never did. They kept going around the houses, but they just never sent her that.
Thanks, Rich. Yes, that's important, Marco. I think give it a try and see what happens.
I think I don't know, the likes of peacekeepers, maybe they're missing a trick in that sense. We're going all with this Bill of Rights and all of this legislation when it might be really that simple just to attack them with, we're happy to pay, but show us a VAT receipt, because they must be making millions if they're not charging VAT.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So give it a try, Marco. Let's see what happens.
I have to wait till next year because I'm not paying now I haven't paid for 2 years. So yeah, so I'll probably wait till next year to challenge them again. They've gone away for now. So that's it really for me.
We need to let them know they're breaking the law. None of them know about the International Criminal Court Act and the Terrorism Act 2000. So
how do we let them know, Chris?
Well, we'll write to them. I'm just producing a tougher letter, so I'll make sure it goes up on the website. And a lot of us need to really force our councils, force the Revenue and Customs, force anybody who's raising tax to understand
the revenue
and compel the offence they are committing. And the fact that they could be put in prison for 14 years under the Terrorism Act 2000, 30 years under the International Criminal Court Act, and for life if we mount up some of these offences.
Yeah. And also, did you say, Chris, about that? You have to. It's against the law. You have to refuse a manifestly illegal order. So by the time we ever go to court, that is an illegal order telling you to fund terrorism, crimes against humanity, blah 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 blah.
Yes, absolutely.
Other get out, isn't it?
No, but that is under customary international war law, whereas these two offences are criminal offences under statute criminal law of England and Wales.
Right. Would the other one stand up or not? The customary?
Oh, yeah, it probably would do. It's a slightly different approach in court, that's all.
Okay.
It's a common law, customary international law offence for which the Germany's leaders used as their defence that they were following orders of Hitler, and that was turned down by Nuremberg, and they were convicted, many of them, and hanged, several of them.
Yeah, not enough of them. It's happening now, isn't it? It's in Israel. Anyway, okay, brilliant. Thanks, Marco. Lucy.
Hi.
Hello, Lucy.
Hi, everyone.
Hiya.
So, where am I at? I did my deed of trust in May, and I didn't hear anything. And then at the beginning of September, I got a summons, which I'm just looking at there. And that was a bit scary, kind of, being new to this. But Michael very kindly came with me. So thank you, Michael. And it was an experience. It was really interesting to see how it all works and see what a joke it is, really, and what a kind of money-making day it is for the councils. And now I've just got to, Michael's helping me, and I'm just going to wait. I guess I'm going to get my liability order. I'm kind of a little bit anxious about people coming to maybe come and take my car and things like that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. But I do have a question, which was when I asked the council who authorised my summons, they just came back with not very much. And they said that there was an amendment to the rules in 2019, which governed civil proceedings in the magistrates court, which removed the requirement for signatures on summonses and warrants. And this ruling came into force on the 1st of January 2020. And she said, I trust that clarifies the situation. And I just wondered if anybody knew about that and whether that's actually true.
Yeah, I know about this a little bit. One of the things that Robert Odek says is that even if they come with a valid piece of paper with a judge signature on it and a stamp and everything, it could still be a fraudulent document. So it doesn't matter what piece of paper they have. He said the only evidence that you need is there a record in the court register? Right. If there's no record in the court register of issuing a liability order, then there's no liability order.
Okay.
That's very useful. Thank you, David. Yeah, that may help a lot of people, that one.
Yeah, because they did change that. They did say, yeah, it doesn't need a judge signature. In fact, they said the judge just has to verbally allow the liability order. So forget about the paperwork. The fact that if there's no court record, and if you go to Trust Online, I think it's Trust Online, I think it's .co.uk or .org.uk. It is a government website, and you can search any court in the UK to see if there's a liability order against your name.
Okay.
It cost about £8 to do a search. So I did a search a couple of weeks to the hearing, and he said, no, nothing here at Weston-super-Mare for you under your name. I was also told that sometimes they can take up to 30 days to actually update the court records. So you can say, remind me again in so many days, and they'll allow you to do another search for, I think, 50% discount for £4 or something, just to check that it's not been entered later on. Which I did, and it came back and said, no, there's no entry.
What was that? Trust
Online. I think it's .co.uk. Let me just double check, or it's .org.uk. But it is a government driven website. So let me just check. No, it's .org.uk. Trust Online.
Okay, great.
There is, I just butt in here. There is that councils are coming back with an excuse that they're abiding by the rules. Well, rules are rules. But there is a case which covers this, a proper case. It's Regina versus Brentford Magistrates in 1975. A decision by magistrates whether to issue summonses pursuant to information laid involves the exercise of a judicial function and is not merely administrative. A summons or warrant is merely machinery for giving a defendant notice of a proceedings and for getting him or her before the court. A magistrate who issues summonses or warrants without applying his mind to the information and completing his judicial exercise will be guilty of dereliction of duty.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That was on the Claire Wills Harrison thing.
What was that court case, please, Michael?
It was Regina versus Brentford Justices in 1975.
If anyone reads that stuff, that's very good, isn't it? Her Substack was quite good, I thought. Claire Wills Harrison, yeah.
Okay. Because I'm so far away in Scotland. Just to ask, I paid all my life into what was an involuntary pension through the council that I worked for, and it's just a small amount of money, and they take tax off it still. So is there some way that I can use, because obviously if I did it through the HMRC, then the council are in cahoots with them even more than most corporations, presumably, and they would probably refuse to not pay it to them. So is there some, who would be the best person to send the trust to?
Copy of your trust.
Sorry?
Do you mean a copy of your trust deed?
Your one, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay. It's really the person in charge of the council, the 151 officer. I think it's slightly different in Scotland, but whoever's in charge of the council, it makes sure that they have it and that everybody else has to respond to it. I think there's a wording on the top of the document that people. Does anybody remember that wording? It's
and then with a covering letter to say this is pertaining to the fact that I am concerned about the tax that I'm paying from my pension being used for this nefarious purposes, yeah?
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
Okie doke. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean. Hiya.
Hi. Okay. Quick one, I'm hoping. I'll have a question about setting up the trust. Is it the steps? I've got a business, yes. So I've got a business. I'm the only person in the business. There's no employees. I'm the director. That's it. I'm just basically a contractor. I have a limited company, and I want to dispute the corporation tax that is now due. And I have a question about what is setting up the trust? What are the steps that I go through? I've seen the templates on the business side of the Probity Co website. But these steps 1 to 6 on the, I guess it's the other one, it's the probityco.com site. I'm looking at steps 1 to 6 here. Are those the same steps that I need to do for my business also?
Yeah.
Broadly, yes, I think so. We need to just check that the slight difference is on the corporate trust is that you can appoint, if you want to, outside independent trustees. And that will help you a bit in terms of keeping responsibility for the money to somebody else so that you can say, look, I have paid this. And if you want to argue about it, argue with my trustees who now have the money and will pay it to you if you meet the conditions of the trust.
Right.
So it takes it one step away from you so that you not only have your personal council tax and other personal taxes, but as a business, you can be seen to be doing this lawfully and legally through independent trustees. I'm hoping we'll get a few legal firms or accountancy firms who will take on this role for people. But
right.
In the meantime, until we do, I'm happy to do that for you, Sean.
Right. Okay, that'd be brilliant. So would that mean that you would be a witness? You would sign my trust deed as a witness then? Or?
Not as a witness, no. The witness is to your signatures in your as a director or somebody. So if somebody knows you and works with you can witness it. Yeah. And the only purpose of that is to prove in court that it is not a fraudulent document. You can say in court, or your witness can say in court, I saw Sean, I know Sean, I saw him sign this, and that is his signature.
Right. And can that be anybody? Because I've seen somewhere...
Anybody who knows you, yes, a witness, but not a family member.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can see here it's got 3 entries for persons who have agreed to act as independent trustees. So that's where you would...
It doesn't have to be 3, but I mean, I just put that on entries, if you want to have several.
All right, cool. Okay. There isn't, but it doesn't, I'm just looking through it, through that deed, the business version. There isn't a section for a witness to sign it, I don't think. They've got for and on behalf of the company. Yeah,
and that's probably good enough.
Okay.
But we may need to put a section in there for a witness. I'm not sure for a sole trader whether that stands up in court. I think it does as a business trust. But I need to check on that, Sean. Maybe we need the witness in there. There's no harm in having a witness sign as well.
Mm. Yeah. All right, good. Thank you for that, Chris.
And next week, Sean, I'll set up a thing with you and Marcos. Oh, this week, actually. So I'll contact you tomorrow.
Brilliant, brilliant. Marco, just very quickly, I just looked at my self-assessment form, and it looks like the national insurance and the PAYE is all in there. So I don't know if you're doing it differently, but I'm paying it all as one lump sum under the self-assessment. I don't know if that makes sense to you. That's the way my accountant is
Yeah, that's
working
correct.
out the okay.
Yeah, so what I get is I get a figure every month for each salon, which is, I don't know, 2,000 for one salon, 1,500 for one salon.
Yeah.
And I just hold the whole lot back. And then when HMRC send me a letter, then I respond with one of the letters that I've been responding where I ask the questions.
Yeah.
And I do that every month. So I have a record of it. The latest one I've got is there's a VAT one, a VAT which they've actually they've showed me a whole the period from 2022 up to today. This is for VAT, which I've not paid since 2022.
Cool.
Great stuff, Marco. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a statement. I want to put it in the bin. No, but I'll keep it, and then I'll just respond to them. And also another thing I've been doing, I changed it a little bit. So when I do my deed of trust, I used to just send them the original and then scan the last page where I put my signature, scan that page and keep it. So now what I'm doing, I print off the original, scan the original with all the signatures, and then take both copies to the post office and get one certified. And I send the certified copy to HMRC.
Right. And it is important to keep the original in your, with the money that you have put aside.
Yeah.
A percentage of it. So
yeah, well, I just put it all in gold. Just put it all in gold.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, don't forget to send us some gold, Margaret. That'd be lovely. Okay. I'm going to go to Crypto Rich.
Hi. If I may, I got, I think, 3 things. But before I do those 3 things, first, somebody's asked me for the Clear Wills Harrison Substack. I don't have that.
Oh, I'll send that, yeah.
Yeah, if you could send that out to everybody, thank you. And I just wanted to share where I was at with Go Via Thameslink and also with HMRC. So Go Via Thameslink, I travelled further than I should have done. Would have cost me £1.80. I offered to pay the extension when I arrived at the station. The revenue inspectors, they said, no, we're going to give you a PCN for 55 quid, which they did. I sent them the trust documents and they went through their process, the single justice procedure notice. They ignored everything I said. And my argument was that some of the money that I give you, you're going to give to HMRC, which is then going to be, a portion of that is going to be used in violation of the International Criminal Court Act and the Terrorism Act. They went through the single justice procedure. I sent them a statutory declaration. I don't know what happened, because then they sent me a liability notice for £460. And they've been in touch with my employer to deduct the wages. Now I'm kind of okay, because I'm losing my job as a social worker in the next couple of weeks, because they need the money to go and kill people abroad and to pay for Keir Starmer's dress allowance versus providing heating for the elderly. So my employer's not going to have any money from me. But in the interim, I sent an affidavit to Go Via Thameslink. And I gave them 14 days to rebut it. It's been a month and they haven't rebutted it. I've resent the statutory declaration and the affidavit, and now I'm just waiting to hear. Now, the question that I have, which I'll come to again with HMRC, because I sent them an affidavit. So I sent them the deed of trust, got into lots of correspondence with them, and they keep ignoring the bit about the International Criminal Court Act and the Terrorism Act. They keep coming back to, as a UK citizen, I have to pay tax. Now, I sent them an affidavit. I gave them 14 days to respond. They responded late, and I got the response today, and I sent it to you, Chris, and it's quite amusing, because they don't mention at all the International Criminal Court Act or the points in the Terrorism Act. They just say, as a UK citizen, I have to pay tax. Now, they've passed on my details to a debt enforcement agency. And I've written to the debt enforcement agency and I've said, do you have a properly executed court order? If you do, please send me a copy. Otherwise, do not correspond with me in any way whatsoever. They replied asking for my date of birth. I've now written a letter to them, and I use ChatGPT for this, right? Not the legal AI that Marco, I think, or David referred to, right? Which essentially I'm saying that there's no lawful basis for them to contact me. because it's just a shakedown. I could send any of you saying, look, give me some money. I don't have a court order. Just give me some money, or I'll send the heavies round. And to remove all my details according to GDPR from their database. I want no correspondence from them unless they have a properly executed court order, which they don't have because HMRC haven't taken me to court. Now, here I am with 2 agencies with 2 unrebutted affidavits.
Good.
And actually, I just want to say something else. I was in court this morning with regard for a family case law matter, and to do with whether this child is going to stay in care or not. And my argument is the child wasn't being treated, but was being abused, needs to be elsewhere. And the parents' argument is, no, I want my child back. So I put in a statement with all this evidence. And then the parent has put in a counter statement. And the one thing they don't address is the evidence I've provided that the child has been subjected to significant harm. They talk about lots of other things. This is just what HMRC are doing.
Yep.
They can't address the actual material points. And when people have a weak argument, that's what they do. So if I argue with you about something A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you say, well, A, B, and F, but you don't address the other points, you just ignore them because you don't have a counter to them. And that's what I'm seeing is happening with HMRC and with Govia Thameslink, and I think also with the experience that other people are having, which just strengthens our case.
I agree.
Can I just offer a solution based on my experience this year? Well, first of all, the Bill of Rights 1689 says no fine or forfeiture without conviction. So I suggest you wait until they convict you and then find out who the judge or magistrates are and write out a deed of trust with their names on it. And this is what I did earlier in the year when I was convicted for not having a driving license, insurance and MOT. And I was fined £906 and 6 points on my driving license. And that was back in May. And nothing. It's all gone quiet.
Michael, that's extraordinary.
So a deed of trust, you don't have to go to court. Just wait for them to say that they've got an order against you, and then contact the court and find out which judge or which magistrates made that order. And then send the court a deed of trust with their names on, with the full amount, agreeing to pay, subject to them giving you the assurance. Work for me.
6 people.
What assurance, Michael?
The assurance that's required in the deed of trust is that they give you unequivocal assurance that none of the money is going to be used for terrorism.
Right. Okay. To the people to the magistrate whose name is on the single justice procedure notice that I got from Govia Thameslink.
Yeah. Well, you said you hadn't been fined yet.
No, the Govia Thameslink have sent me a fine.
No, they can't fine you without conviction. Bill of Rights.
That I understand. So the deed of trust will be for that magistrate.
So it's got to go to court and for them to convict you.
Yes. Now,
when you don't have to go to court, just wait for the instruction from the court, and then contact the court and find out who sat on the bench and made that order, and then you write out a deed of trust with their names on it to whatever court it is, and then send it to them.
Fantastic.
Very good idea.
Thank you.
It worked for me.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Chris.
I will take that. Now, the question that I still have is, what do I do now with regards to the affidavit to HMRC? I just want them to leave me alone. Stop sending me notices saying how much interest I pay. I owe 0 interest because I have paid them. And that was the other thing they said in the letter, that trusts aren't valid.
No, and they don't pay attention to the law, and it's just incredible. I've been fighting this for years, and I really haven't found a way. The bureaucrats in the system, they just carry on repeating the old crap and they're never held to account for it. So we must actually get the name of the next one who does it and start to take action under Section 19 of the Terrorism Act 2000. Yeah. We have a legal duty to report them to the police for breaches of Sections 15 and 17 of the Terrorism Act. And if we fail to report them, we commit a criminal offence. So I think we need to start doing that and just get the name of the individual somewhere in the system, and maybe the judge and others. We can now start reporting them for offences under Section 15 and 17.
Okay, well, I know my customer advisor who's been from HMRC who's been writing to me, ignoring my points, talking around the houses. So perhaps like Michael suggested, a deed of trust to him.
Yeah.
But I think I'm beyond that, because an unrebutted affidavit stands as fact.
Yes.
Right. But how do I then say to them, look, can you just stop writing to me unless you actually, that could be it. Stop writing to me unless you're going to take me to court.
Well, that's the idea. And I think the other threat is, right, because you keep doing this to me, I am now have a legal duty to report you to the police for a criminal offence which could put you in prison for 14 years. Here is what the law says, and quote section 15.1 and 15.2 and 15.3. Each, by the way, each of them are separate criminal offences, and they all carry 14 years. So the maximum is 42 years in prison.
Right. That's the Terrorism Act, Section 15.
That's it. Absolutely. And then on top of that, you can quote the International Criminal Court Act, Section 52, and bring in this issue of conduct ancillary to genocide. And Section 78 of the International Criminal Court Act, because that quite clearly lays out the responsibility of government officials under the Act, and they are all liable, criminally liable under that Act.
I've sent that to them. I've quoted them. They've just ignored it.
Yeah, I know.
They've got no teeth.
No, they've got no teeth. And also, if you look at, you have to bomb an awful lot of countries before someone sends out an ICC arrest warrant. So, anyway, okay, great. Thank you very much.
One last thing, which is for people to watch out for. Allegedly, Dave was on Richard Vobes' channel, I think, last week, and he's developing a system, hasn't been developed yet, whereby people can use a promissory note, which is compliant with the Bill of Exchange Act, that cannot be refused. So it's just something for us to look out for.
Absolutely.
That may be useful.
Sorry, can I just jump in? I'm so sorry. This is exactly with whatever you're talking about. I am replying. This is my letter is ready to Thames Water. They will not accept it, but I'm asking for proof. So
good.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. Actually, can I ask a thing about promissory notes? The problem with the promissory note, presumably, I know it's legal tender, but you send it in, you pay, but then they can. It's a document they can refinance. Is that problematic? As in,
they can sell it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Carrie. Hello. Oh.
I love cooking and recipes.
Hello. Yeah. Sorry. I either blank the screen or I have to cook. So I've heard a lot of things there, and I'm going to try and catch up. Yes, the promissory note is a security, isn't it? So you have to ask for it back. If you send your promissory note and they say no, we can't accept this, you have to ask for it back because they may have used it as a security already and told you they can't use it. So I've heard that before. And there's a certain way to produce the promissory note. And the thing that confuses me about the promissory notes is that it's just a promise to pay. So you are still saying you'll pay in the future.
No, it's because it's the same as a £5 note or anything else. That's the problem. Using it as a financial instrument. That's why I think it's problematic for what we're doing. Because
So I was really, first of all, put my hand up to answer Lucy. Is Lucy still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here. Yes. Hello.
Hi. Because I just wanted to pick that up. The council tax, as Susie and Chris know, is my kind of thing with Hugh. I don't think Hugh's here tonight. But just so you know, so the process, I've been through the process 3 times now. I think Hugh and I are waiting for our third appearance in court in October. So I've had the bailiffs, do we call them, around to the house. And I just wanted to reassure you on that point. First of all, you were correct to ask which judge issued your summons or gave permission for your summons. And it doesn't have anything to do with the signature as far as I'm aware. You still had to have a judge issue the summons. That's something that peacekeepers are going into in depth. That it can't be a clerk or a justice's clerk or someone else. It has to be a justice of the peace. I think that's where we're at. Am I right, Susie and Chris? Do you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter that yes, they did bring in whether it's 2019 that it doesn't have to be signed anymore. That's true, but that's neither here nor there. You still need to know, was the evidence put in front of a justice, and did they look at both sides of the evidence? And this is the what was the law that the case law you quoted earlier?
Versus Regina.
Yeah. It was, yeah. So you were right with that, but they fobbed you off with, oh, we don't need a signature anymore. And also, just to say that, yeah, you'll now get your liability order. So when the bailiffs came around to my house, I didn't answer the door, but I phoned him half an hour later because I was, at that point, too nervous to actually confront him face to face. So I phoned him and I told him I'm recording the call, and I recorded a 20-minute phone call of him telling me he didn't have any documentation. This is before the Bridgestone Suter case, Leighton Suter. So he happily told me that the council have a warrant of control and all sorts of stories he had, but that he didn't have to have paperwork, which he did. So I still have that recording. And basically, if they come, I would hide your car. I've got my car in a random trust name. So if they, and it has been for 2 years now, so if they kind of looked up with DVLA, they wouldn't see me associated with my car. So that's a useful thing to do. And I think it's still useful. You know, they try and shut down all these avenues, but so
can I just say that the paperwork, if they visit you, the paperwork they leave with you, if they try and take a vehicle, is that they've taken it on the road or on the highway. If your vehicle's on your own driveway, they can't clamp it, they can't take it.
Yeah, no, mine is on my own driveway, and I had heard Carrie, actually someone else was looking into registering her car in another way. So yeah, I need to investigate that. It's not worth very much, my car, to be honest with you, but yeah, it would be nice to have it.
Yeah, if it's a car that you use for work, if it's a car that is worth less than something like 1,300, they can't take it either. So there are lots of rules. There's a good document on bailiffs and what they can do and what they can't do. It doesn't mean they follow their own rules, but one of the first things to do is to look up to see if they're on the bailiffs register on gov.uk and all those things, probably, you know. But yeah, I just want to say, don't be scared. They're all bluff. I mean, Susie and Chris, remember Hugh was on a call with us when they turned up at his house, and the guy was leaning through the window, and I was shouting to Hugh, record him, and as soon as he heard me say that, the guy went away. So you have to record everything.
I have to remember that. I probably won't remember time. I do. I mean, I think it's just a matter of going through it, isn't it? And then you become stronger because knowledge is power. And so when going to the court, it wasn't anything like I was imagining it to be. And now I've seen that. And I mean, I was going to say to Michael in our next conversation, I definitely, in retrospect, I probably could have stood and said something, you know, but I didn't, because I just didn't know what to expect. And so therefore I just thought, I'm not really ready for that. And I don't even know whether I want to acknowledge in court, you know, that I'm here and this is what I'm doing. But I think I will now.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it does. It makes you stronger, and you sort of see how ridiculous it is, as you said. It's so.
With the clamping, they don't care if it's on your drive. I know somebody who had it on a drive, they clamped it. I know somebody else who had a finance car, they clamped it. And I even know somebody who had it in trust, so they shouldn't have even had the details and they clamped it. They don't care.
Yeah, they're desperate.
Any notice. It doesn't matter if it's worth £500, they'll clamp it. You know, if you use for work, they clamp it. They do not take any notice of any rules.
Yeah,
absolutely. So hide the car. Yeah,
and also have a spare clamp, and then you can clamp their van. And
that's a good idea. I can't hide my car though. Really, there's nowhere to hide it.
You don't need to. They won't take it. I mean, like she says, they do it, but you can always remove a clamp.
Yes, I have an angle grinder. I haven't had to use it yet, but I've got one.
I need to get one of those then. So when would I anticipate that they'll start coming? Like how soon after your court hearing?
Oh, good question. I think it was about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And the first visit, they'll only put a letter in your letterbox. They should write to you first.
No,
sorry, can I just jump in?
The council will write to you first after the liability hearing, asking you to pay up otherwise, and then you do nothing for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you might get a letter from the enforcers because they have to give you at least 7 days' notice before a visit, but they probably won't turn up for another couple of weeks after that anyway. So you're probably looking at least a month and a half.
Okay.
But also, you phone them up and say, "Do you have a copy of the liability order?" And they don't, and that's why they've never come. I've never had a bailiff.
I've had bailiffs come, and when they turned up, I mean, they've sent me the enforcement agent sent me many letters, and I gave them 4 notices. One was cease and desist. When they turned up, he was looking for my car, the registration. He couldn't find my name anywhere because I put my car into another name, a name that's a trust, so he couldn't touch it. But then when he left, I invoiced the enforcement agents for £6,000 because I had given them notice and they haven't rebutted any of my notices. I invoiced them for disturbing my peace, turning up, £5,000, £500 for returning their letter, and another £500 for intimidation towards my daughter. And I haven't heard anything since. And that was at least 3 months ago.
Excellent.
So I think I don't know. I think it's never answer their questions. I always, if I'm confronted with them, the first thing I said, I don't answer questions. And then he asks another question. I just kept saying, I don't answer any questions. Then he left.
Well done.
You should really
Okay,
turn.
Carrie, did you have anything else at the moment? So Pauline's been waiting there patiently for a long time.
Thank you, Carrie.
Sorry.
No, but that's all right. I was just going to say to Marco, you should turn up at HMRC offices and with your scissors and ask Jim Harrow if you can pay in kind. Do a nice chop. Anyway, Pauline, sorry.
Yes, I am. Yes, I was just unmuting myself. I've wanted to say something else, but what I was just going to tell you about my experience with bailiffs, Lucy, which was actually quite positive. They were very low key. I've had one visit and one person on the phone, and I just said, well, I have paid it, and I explained about the trust and the Terrorism Act. One of them said, oh, you've watched too many YouTube channels, and went away. And the other one was quite interested in what I had to say. That was about 3 months after the court hearing. This year, I've done the same thing. And after the first, they sent me a first reminder, then a second one, and I sent them a notice after that, explain a notice of mistake, telling them that I have paid it, and I put in there about the International Court of Justice finding on Israel-Palestine situation, and that was July, and I've heard nothing since. Nothing since. The next thing will be a summons, but that's about as I say, mid-July.
Okay.
But what I put my hand up for was to say that on this coming Wednesday, well, two things. First of all, say thank you to everybody. Lots of interest and information. It's always really useful, and thank you for this group. It's really helpful. On Wednesday, I'm going to a meeting locally, which is Leamington Spa, where I live, run by Justice for Palestine, which is about focused on solutions, about what we can do. And my plan is to tell them about probity.co. So hopefully some people will get in touch with you from that.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, probity.com.
Probityco.com.
Probityco.com. Yeah, I do know that. Sorry.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Well done. Thank you. Okay. Did you have another question, or was it?
No, that was it.
That's brilliant. All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And Tara.
I'm feeling a little bit frazzled at the moment with regards to council tax. I've done everything, as in I've done a trust fund with Chris, but they're going for attachments of earnings. So I've informed my employer of the reasons why I'm not paying council tax. I haven't refused. There's a discrepancy of a credit that they made into an arrears. Also, so this went well on the 8th. I've now got an appointment. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you can. I've got an appointment, a Zoom meeting with my employer, because I haven't been back to work since they've been taking attachments of earnings out of my pay from July. They actually took it from sick pay as well, which left me with zero money to live on. I was stuck in Hastings. And now I've got a meeting on the 8th with my employer. I am a member of the trade union, Workers of England. Now they're coming in on the meeting, but I'm not quite sure where I stand, because at this moment in time I feel like I may lose my job. I don't feel like I can go back to work at the moment because it is taking so much of my time trying to sort it out and dealing with other issues. I'm not sure where this will take me now. They're saying for me to do a grievance with my employer and go down ACAS road. But now I feel like I'm being dragged into their domain. But I am not experienced enough to know what is the right way and what's the wrong way to do this.
Okay, can I come in here?
Please do, Michael.
I've got a case going on at the moment with an art teacher that works at a school in Derby. Back in July, they threatened him with the school threatened him with an attachment of earnings. They wanted to take £733 in July. We wrote to them a letter. They decided not to take it in July, but they took it in August. But again, we used the deed of trust. We put the school principal's name on deed of trust, agreeing to pay the £733 that they were going to take, and we served that on him. At the same time, we told them that we were going to go make an application to ACAS, which is great because it's free. We did that 3 weeks ago. ACAS interviewed me 2.5 weeks ago as my friend appointed me as his representative. So we had a chat with ACAS, and I had an email from them today, this week, saying that they'd not had any meaningful conversation with the school and that they're going to have to wrap this up next week. So it looks like we're off to an employment tribunal, which again is free. And as far as I know, they don't award costs unless it's frivolous, which our case isn't. But what we're doing is we're saying we're not refusing to pay, and this case is not about council tax. It's about the council's. We're challenging the school to prove that the council had authority to get them to deduct this. So that's where we are. Go to ACAS. It's quite simple. It's quite straightforward. It's not legalistic, and you can make an application online. As I say, it's free. A mediator or a conciliator will contact you, and they're quite friendly and helpful. They're neutral. They won't take sides. They just want to know what your side of the story is, and then they go to the other side. But you need to challenge the school. You need to get them to explain where the council got their authority to do this, and what they say to us. Well, this isn't a problem between the school and you. It's a problem between you and the council. But it isn't, because they've deducted the money, so it's their problem. They have to account for why they've taken it. And what the council is saying is that they've got a liability order from the magistrates' court. Well, we know that's all nonsense. So the school should not be taking that money. And unfortunately, they've now taken another £733 from his salary from last month. But they are liable to it when we get a hearing in our favour. The school is going to have to refund that money out of their money because they've already paid it to the council. Plus the fact they've had 2 lots of legal advice, which obviously they've had to pay for. And if we go to an employment tribunal, they are going to have to employ a very senior legal person to represent them. And a barrister in court for a day is probably going to cost them more than it would be to pay his council tax for him. But we're pushing back.
That's good. Tara, could I make a suggestion? Because you're in Hastings, and I am too.
Oh, I was in Hastings, Chris, at the time. I was at Hope Community. I'm actually based in Kingston, Surbiton.
Oh, right.
But I am in Hastings again on the 12th because I'm going to the Hope Community.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, we may be able to meet up. I was just going to suggest if you send your email contact to Susie, if she passes it on to me, I'll try and get in touch with you to see if I can be of help in person at any meeting with the key people concerned.
That would be amazing, Chris, because at the moment I'm just finding that my mind is just frazzled. So all the information is just bouncing back out at the moment. So I've got it there, but it's just. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Tara, yeah. I am also in around Kingston. I'm in Surbiton.
Oh, okay. So
I am quite advanced with Kingston Council. So if you want to get in touch with me, we can help each other.
That'd be amazing. Can I put my telephone number on in the chat, or is that okay?
Yeah. You want me to? Okay.
Yeah, I'll put mine in. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'll call you back.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tara. That's great.
One more
Thank
question.
you, Ricky.
I'm really sorry about this. Crypto Rich, I'm having trouble with the school as well. So I know that you have that line of work in your experience. Is it possible I can talk to you about that as well? And that's Crypto Rich.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
Sure, absolutely, Tara. I'm a child protection social worker.
Yeah.
I've also, my 20-year-old and 17-year-old never went to school. They were home educated.
Right.
So I can give you informal conversation informally.
I'm actually now in loggerheads and battles with her school for asking about PHSE and their discipline and their punishments and stuff. I've actually now been accused of being homophobic in previous meetings, which are not the case. And I'm actually being lied to by the headmistress that I feel that she's trying to get me into trouble. And I just want to know where do I stand, because all of what she's saying is not true. Everything that she is now saying, that she's actually writing to my home in emails saying that I'm being homophobic and that I do not I'm not in line with her ethos, and that is not the case at all. And I'm not quite sure where this will take me.
Yeah, my, I don't know, Chris, if you want me to address this here.
Do.
So this is my opinion on this. So the Education Act, I forget which year, forget the section. It's the parents' duty to either to educate their children either by regular attendance at school or otherwise.
Yeah.
When you enroll your children in a school, you're agreeing to their terms and conditions.
Mm.
And they can get really, really nasty.
Absolutely.
Right? In my opinion, and I don't know your circumstances, the best thing you can do is take them out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in a battle with a system that you've actually agreed to put them in.
I know. It's so unfair because you don't actually realise what you're registering until after the fact, like with everything at the moment.
And the thing that I would say, people who haven't home educated, who don't have any experience of it, don't get how unbelievably, ridiculously, wonderfully easy and joyful it is. My children are, look, you're going to be, I don't know your circumstances, and how old your kids are. You're going to be, we were a single income family. One of us had to be at home when they were young. But my kids grew up so happy. They had such a happy childhood. And that shows up in how they are as adults. It is so worth it.
Yeah.
So I will ping you my email and contact details and
that's amazing.
Work it out, all right?
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And that would be amazing, Chris. That would be so cool if you could contact me with regards to what I'm going to do with the attachments of earnings. I may see you in Canterbury on the 9th.
Oh, yes, good. We want to make sure we promote that event.
Yeah.
There is an event taking place in Canterbury, 2-day event, and we'll put the details up on the website, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'll get them to you, Susie.
What date is it?
19th to the 21st. Well,
19th, Saturday and Sunday, 19th and 20th, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm going to...
October. Cool.
October, yeah.
Tara, sorry, what's your second name so I can find you in the emails in case we lose?
Saunders, S-A-U-N-D-E-R.
I just can't believe that Crypto Rich has children. You look about 18.
Oh, Susie, you're my favourite. You're the best person on this whole court. You're shaming the court.
I know how to creep up to people. Now, someone has just put in the chat.
She's after something.
Check Sarah Plumley's Guerrilla Education for Schools. Someone's just put that in the chat to see if that's anything useful. Okay. Are there any other? Oh, yes, there is. Jennifer, hello. I'll come back to you, Ricky. Jennifer?
I was thinking about setting up a dormant limited company, which is an ongoing thing. You've got to do that every year so that I could protect my van. But because the guy who's doing the trust for me for the house said it wasn't very good because it means you've got to deregister the car, and I don't want to do that. I want to be covered by insurance. So is that the best way to do that? Set up a limited company? The company pay ongoing for it over the years? Not that, I would do that if that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I think Carrie said that. Are you still there, Carrie? Carrie? Yeah, setting up a limited company, you put the car in that. Again, like somebody else said, I think it was Ricky, people tend to, they just sort of break all the rules at the moment. But also they can't really take your credits for work.
Right, yeah. So all things being equal, that would be a way to go. And while you're on there, can I just ask you, were you the person that thought the issue with Nationwide?
I can't hear you very well, actually. What was that?
Sorry. Were you the person that had the problem with Nationwide Building Society, Carrie?
I did.
Arresting my funds, they did, and not giving me direct debit indemnity back or any of the funds back or anything. No matter how. Not you, Carrie. No, sorry. Okay, so
I was just going to say, I am insured on the car. Insurance is in your name, not the car kind of thing. I mean, you are insured on the car in your name. So there is a question if you go on certain insurance sites that says, are you the legal owner of the car kind of thing? And I can't remember what I put the last time, but if you aren't asked that, then you can just be insured in your name on that car, on that registration. So it is a bit different. You don't have to be, the V5 name can be in something else. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
people have said that you can put all sorts of things, really strange things there, but it doesn't sound right to me what they're saying. Somehow, like you put your dog and all that, it doesn't.
Yes, I've heard people put their dog, but well, it's the kind of joke of the system. You know, they say this is no proof of ownership on the V5, don't they?
Yes.
So yeah, you know, it's a bit of a game, I suppose. But I still am legally insured. Put it that way.
And I know some people put it in the name of Sadiq Khan and just kept sending him all
Oh yes, I like that one.
Now, can I just go to Marianne Hill, because I know you don't know how to put the hand thing up. Are you still there? Marianne?
Yep, I'm still here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, firstly, thank you for inviting me.
No.
I came on for a slightly different reason, you know, although I've quietly dealt with most of the subjects you're already speaking with. However, I'm doing things a little bit different on a proactive basis. I've heard Chris speak occasionally about co-ops. I've been working with Jono a little bit as well.
Oh, good.
And in an initial phase, because I appreciate getting co-ops right is a big subject, I'm in the throes of putting together a company limited by guarantee working to cooperative rules specifically as a not-for-profit, because I'm a farmer fed up with the effing system, and I've been a tenant farmer for 25 years. I've seen the problem from the bottom, and I spent 2 years trying to work in the private with community groups, which has cost me a bloody fortune that I didn't have. So after a year of going around the houses and looking at the various aspects, I figured, a bit like martial arts, I'd take the system and use it against itself, which I think company limited by guarantee will do. But ultimately, I know I'm going to want to take on staff, and I would rather sort things like HMRC from the get-go, or it might be just take on staff that are prepared to align with the fight. And it was just a case of putting it out to the group. If there's anyone that would be interested in seeing the fundamentals of the company, which is the Articles of Association, I've got them. I've not completed it yet, but I've got most of it done. And if I'm barking enough for you to agree with, do get in contact with me.
Brilliant.
That's very good, Marion. I'd like to see that myself. And particularly if you've been working with Jono, that's good news. And I'd like to perhaps join your company as a member.
Well, I'm hoping to have the board made up of farmers. And it sounds very, very clicky. It's not meant to be. I have lost a fortune with my heart in the right place, doing the right thing with non-farmers that have the best interest but don't understand the fundamentals. Yeah. And the reason we're walked over is the reason the supermarkets have got a hold, and it's got to change. And I'm at the bottom of the pack, and I can't see anyone in the farming industry doing anything about it. So we're going to have a go. So
that's brilliant.
So ultimately, Chris, I've got a strategy and a structure that will work up to full co-op. So I will, yeah.
That's great.
Marianne, I'd like to put you in touch with another lady who is helping farmers now.
Oh,
would you like that?
Yes, always.
Okay, her name is Rose from the Sovereign Trust. I think Chris knows about her. Yeah?
Yes, vaguely, but not the detail.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my email address here, and just draft me an email, just a short one, and I will put you in touch with her. I spoke to her yesterday. She's very good.
Okay, I'm in South Oxfordshire, Barbara.
Okay. Brilliant.
Just one more question to Kerry. Kerry, what's for dinner?
By the way, someone said, why not think about PMA? I've done it all as a PMA, and I've built up the co-op groups to sustainability for me at my cost, and then they work out they can do it for themselves, which is why I've lost out and why I'm not prepared to do it as a PMA anymore without an infrastructure in place that means I can carry it.
Yes, PMAs are dangerous to do. A lot of people see that private members associations are a good thing, but the risk is you do not have limited liability, and that can cost you a lot of money, and it's very important to do it. So all the big companies and others are limited liability, and the directors of it get away with mass murder and all sorts of other things, and never lose a penny themselves because of the limited liability and the rules of the company. So do let me have a see of a look at your rules, articles of association, Marianne.
Yeah,
I'm very interested in those.
Okay, I'm just putting my email in if anyone wants to contact me.
Lovely. And I will get through to Jono as well, Jono Bradley. So
he's been away for a few weeks, I believe.
I think he's back now. Hopefully.
Yeah, and I'll send you. We know some similar farmers, I think, actually, Marianne. Richard from the Wiccan place and his family, Richard Large. Anyway, I'm a farmer, so I'll send them your way as well. Other ones. Brilliant.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, and I will try and sort of keep on board with what you guys are doing, because the one thing I've realised is there are so few people out there actually doing, and an awful lot of people talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So brilliant.
Very
All right.
familiar.
Thank you.
Great. Is there anybody else last minute questions? No. Marvellous. Well, Carrie, we'll all be round in about 10 minutes. It's so delicious. It's so unfair. And I hope it's all natural produce, otherwise Mario won't be pleased.
It is. It's just chicken and potatoes, really. So I sent a private direct message to Tracy, telling her what I was cooking. I didn't mean to send it to Tracy. Yeah. You're welcome.
All right. Well, listen. Well done. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll put this up online tomorrow morning, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, a quick message to Jennifer. I'm up in your area, Dumfries and places. We may be able to have that meeting finally.
Oh, brilliant! I'm so good.
I'll get in touch with you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
And Ricky and Marion, I'll make sure you have each other's email if you haven't got it off this chat.
Yeah, it's the last one, isn't it, Marion?
Food for change at Protomilk. Brilliant. All right. Very much, everybody, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.